honey super inspection is done to determine if you have honey ready to harvest. Honey is ripe or ready to harvest when it has a moisture content of 18% or less. If it is harvested when it is not ripe, it will ferment. Capped honey is ripe, and a frame that is at least 90% capped is ready to harvest. Flow frames are the exception, where they should be harvested as close to 100% capped as possible. If you have frames that are less than 90% capped, they may still be okay to harvest. On a good nectar flow, bees may leave ripe honey uncapped. A great way to test whether uncapped honey is ripe is by giving the frame a firm downward flick. If unripe honey falls out, the moisture content is too high and it is not ready to harvest. If nothing falls out, the honey is ready to take. The most accurate way to test whether honey is ripe is by using a refractometer to test moisture content. Even though there may be ripe honey in your hive, there are a number of things you need to consider before taking the honey. We should not harvest honey when there is no nectar available or prior to an expected nectar flow, which may or may not come. Bees make honey for bees, not for us, and we need to ensure that we only take the excess honey. The general rule of thumb is to ensure you leave 1 frame of honey for every frame of brood going into an expected dearth, such as winter. If in doubt, leave it for the bees. Any excess honey left on the hive can be removed during the next flow. There are a number of options to remove bees from frames or full supers. The aim is to minimise disruption to the colony, especially in an urban environment, to limit the number of bees in the air. Shaking frames or using a wet bee brush can remove bees. If looking to remove bees from entire supers, clearer boards can be placed 24 to 48 hours prior to harvest. Clearer boards are placed underneath the bottommost honey super you wish to clear. A blower is a fast and efficient option. It does, however, put lots of bees in the air and causes far more disturbance to the colony. This method is not recommended for urban hives. Once the bees have been removed from the frames, they need to be stored appropriately until you are ready to extract. This needs to be where bees and other insects attracted to honey, such as ants, do not have access to them. A sealed tub is a great option. Once the honey frames are removed, the empty space should be filled. This prevents bees from building comb in the empty space. You can use extracted frames, which we call stickies. New or refreshed frames can also be used. If replacing with entire supers, you may wish to consider under-supering. Do this by placing the super below the bottommost honey super. If part of your biosecurity management is a barrier system, ensure stickies are returned to the same hive or subunit they originally came from. A critical point of biosecurity and urban etiquette is to never leave stickies or extracted frames out in the open for the bees to clean. Harvesting honey is the sweet reward for responsible hive management. It is as much about what you leave behind as what you take. Happy beekeeping!